Just what ending is canon for Black Ops 6 Zombies? Reckoning closes out the Black Ops 6 Zombies season. It tries to tie off a storyline that has been running since Cold War, while actively setting up what comes next in Black Ops 7. And in classic Treyarch style that we've literally not seen since Black Ops 2, it ends with two possible final cutscenes. They start the same, share most of their beats, and then split in the final moments. One shows Richtofen finally bringing back his family, the other shows the S.A.M taking on a human body. The problem is there is no confirmation which one actually happened. In my opinion, I think the evidence strongly points towards Richtofen's ending being the canon one, but I will aim to break down both and see how they fit. There is also a wrinkle in how the choices in this map work that makes it more complicated than pick one of the two. Before we get to the split, both endings share some key events. Early in the map, we learn that Samantha Maxis is dead. She was not trapped in the Dark Ether waiting to be rescued. She was destroyed completely when she sacrificed herself into the Forsaken's core. Some people suggest this could all be a lie from Richtofen or the Forsaken, but both Richtofen, the S.A.M, and the Forsaken, who says he consumed her, all confirm she is gone for good. We're hearing this from many different voices. It's kind of a bit contradictory though, because we have some quotes saying that she was consumed essentially by the Dark Ether from within. We have quotes saying that she was basically consumed from within the Forsaken's containment sphere, unless it's literally like there's a Dark Ether pocket dimension inside of the core itself, and the core is kind of like a liminal space between the regular world and the Dark Ether inside the core. And this could potentially explain the C-Tower quote on Terminus about the angry Russian, and the German woman who sometimes sounds like a little girl arguing amongst each other.
Sometimes I think I hear voices coming from within the reactor itself. Many sound like people in pain, crying out, lost in despair. Others, like the Russian man, sound angry. And there's also a woman, but sometimes she sounds more like a girl. She might be German, but I can't quite focus on what she's saying. I said I'm not superstitious, but I am starting to believe that some kind of life exists inside the Dark Ether. And I find this possibility extremely troubling.
This could have been the fight ensuing between them, and essentially Samantha Maxis may have been killed off screen. Now, because it's off screen, it could be possible that she's brought back in the future, but honestly, I could see her getting killed off due to Julie Nathanson leaving and the S.A.M voice actor being replaced, that maybe they pivoted their plans, which is such a shame because of course we learn in Modern Warfare Zombies that the characters failed to rescue Samantha Maxis, but as it turns out there was never even any effort to rescue Samantha Maxis because apparently she was already long gone, which again doesn't even make sense when it comes to Richtofen's ending quotes in Shattered Veil when he knew Samantha Maxis was dead all along, and the S.A.M makes sense to have been lying to us all along, but definitely not for Richtofen to have been. Why just clue us in last second? I do think it's probably been a rewrite due to Julie Nathanson leaving, but it would have been better if they can't bring her back to just leave it for the future. If they potentially repair their relationship with Julie, then she could return in a future game, maybe not Black Ops 7, maybe further down the line, but at least then we could speculate about what happened as opposed to this really anticlimactic conclusion. But I guess, like I said, because it has been done off screen, they could definitely rewrite this, even if they're not intending it right now, maybe due to fan backlash that they don't like that this character who has literally been there since World of War, it's the very same Samantha Maxis, got killed off in such an anticlimactic and not emotional way. We should have seen a cutscene seeing her die. Even if she was consumed by the Forsaken within, we could have gotten a cutscene of that so we could feel the emotions and see how it actually unfolded, as opposed to just hearing it within intel and quotes that really has no emotion to it at all. But regardless, this can technically explain the Modern Warfare Zombies cutscenes talking about this failed rescue mission, but again, it's kind of contradictory because there was never a failed rescue mission. The S.A.M had just been lying about that possibility from the start. There was not even the potential there, so there's definitely probably been some rewrites if this does end up being a canon thing and not just a trick. Zykov also dies within the main quest. We fight him in a containment chamber and have to kill him during the Easter egg to harvest his remains for the Gorgafex wonder weapon. That confirms his death and explains the weapon's origin, as it turns out the Gorgafex is not Cortifex's son, seemingly. But again, it is sad that Zykov, a character that was such a great villain throughout Cold War Zombies, just gets killed off in such an anticlimactic way. I like how he just doesn't want to continue on living after the 5-year gap that he's been trapped and basically getting tortured inside the containment chamber, and he's basically gone crazy. I like that storyline, but for him to then just become a generic mech and we kill him off in an anticlimactic way, even though it makes some sense, I just think they shouldn't have even brought him back at all if this was going to be the way to go. It makes sense that he's a lot weaker now that he used to be this lord that's been drained of all his power. We also learn that the S.A.M AI was trained by Zykov into how to make the power-ups, which is why his voice is still the announcer in Modern Warfare Zombies despite his death in Reckoning. Kind of, I guess. I don't really understand that.
Alright. For a noisy abacus, you are most persuasive. Okay, here I go. Insta-kill.
I got it! My turn! Max ammo! Full power! Fire sale! Bonus points! Yes, I think I get it. I see how the etheric currents are focused now. But it's not quite right yet. What's missing? Oh yes!
Tear them to pieces.
Yes, this might work after all.
What? That was my voice. What are you?
There are people who must be compelled to get something I need. If I just ask, there is a 97.38% chance they will decline. So you see, I am going to have to be very, very, very convincing.
You are going to impersonate my magnificence to manipulate pathetic mortals.
That is a small part of the scenario I will need to construct in order to make them believe that their decisions are their own. But in a nutshell, yes.
The audacity. I do not hate that.
But could potentially suggest that the S.A.M AI's ending, where she gets a real body, is the canon ending, because then it would explain why Zykov is still the announcer voice, because essentially the S.A.M AI is just mimicking his voice, which I don't know why she would continue doing that anyways, or why she was even doing it to begin with. I mean, I get it to conceal her identity to the Terminus crew, but as to everyone else, I'm not exactly sure, and definitely not throughout Modern Warfare Zombies, apart from Ravenov, I guess. Richtofen's personal arc keeps moving puzzlingly forward, even if it means out of character. He has stolen Requiem's DNA, taken Samantha Maxis' eggs, and harvested organs from failed clones of his wife, Mary, and his son Samuel. In previous maps like Shattered Vale, he broke down in tears over a single failed clone of Samuel having to be put down.
Edward Richtofen, Project Janus, cloning clinical study report. When my son died, I was not there. I did not see the body. When Modi told me the new clone experiment had been successful, I was eager to see him for myself. That was foolish of me. His skin was thin, pale, sallow, but I still clung to hope. But this fragile vessel soon became a mere shadow of the boy. The soul I had hoped for, but still I needed to be with him, the way I was not there for Sammy. Over the coming weeks, every visit to the nursery brought more pain for both of us. His blood vessels began hemorrhaging. His muscles and tissue were rupturing. After 14 days, he was no longer even recognizable as human. It became clear that euthanasia would be a mercy, and I gave the order. I do not know what to do next. Perhaps Modi's biotechnology is not the right way to proceed. We are running low on DNA samples. I miss you so much, my son. Since my current projects are not bearing fruit, I may need something a little more esoteric. Perhaps it is time to talk to my own father and take his methodology more seriously.
Now, in Reckoning, as it turns out, he has had multiple failed clones harvested for organs while still awake, showing no concern for their suffering.
Director Richtofen is attempting to... I can't believe I'm going to say this. He's attempting to rebuild his deceased family. He's shipping in clones. I've seen him. Watched them. Struggle to exist. I've seen a few of the boy. I saw one that was supposed to be the wife, I guess, but it's like they're puppets with missing strings. Cold and pale. They struggle just to walk or even look him in the eye. I mean, at first, he acts like they're real. He cares for him, but when they don't improve, he leaves him with the doctors. Tells him to harvest organs and samples. He says everything holds up better when they're not put under. So they're awake. For the whole damn thing. I mean, they feel it all. I can't sleep without seeing them in my mind. I hear them, too. I mean, it's painful for them to try and talk. They sound like dying animals or something. I hear it every fucking night.
Although chronologically this was probably before that one of Samuel, that was probably the most successful one yet, so it makes sense as they got more and more like the real Samuel, that's when he started to gain an attachment. But this makes him seem so callous and cruel, which I think even if a clone was even just slightly had a semblance of who Samuel is, or the same for his wife's clones, he still would have had that emotional attachment, as opposed to being so angry and hateful to them being imperfect. It's really contradictory in my opinion, and makes his character seem so needlessly worse and cruel. Richtofen obviously is a cruel person, even this Jan herself, but this just seems out of line for his character, to be honest. It makes sense that he's had these multiple failed clones, but I do think he would have felt something for them due to him mourning over his family so much so, like I said, even a small semblance of them remaining in these clones would have brought some level of affection from him. Yes, I could see him being angry because they are imperfect, but as we saw with the eventual one that was the closest version to Samuel and ended up suffering a lot and being in great pain and had to be euthanized, even that was far from what the real Samuel was like, and he showed great empathy towards it. So yeah, it's a bit weird. Combined with the way his theft of DNA and Samantha Maxis' eggs is framed in the intel, it feels like the story is pushing him towards a more villainous image than the previous maps, where they were trying to make him especially seem more sympathetic on Shattered Veil.
They harvested them! To what? Our DNA! Richtofen took our fucking DNA! It's all here! Me, Weaver, Carver, they have Max's eggs, Maya! Her fucking eggs!
Even with Reckoning, some quotes they're trying to make him seem very sympathetic, but then other quotes they're trying to make him seem extra evil. Obviously we knew that Richtofen stole Ravenov, the rest of Requiem's and Samantha Maxis' DNA to create Ava Jansen, but we never really knew why. And the intel from Grey talking about this shows so much emotion and it's really great, but until we find out why Ava Jansen is created, this just seems like such a horrific thing for Richtofen to do. I mean, it could all be changed if it is for some sort of greater than good purpose, but we probably won't know until Black Ops 7. The S.A.M AI also feels out of character in this map. Since her first appearance in the Liberty Falls cutscene, she is aggressively attacking Eddie, Richtofen, and the Janus staff during her escape. She caused the outbreaks, causing hundreds and hundreds of people to die, and only about an hour earlier in-universe time, because we've literally just skipped 10 days from Terminus to Reckoning, and literally just a couple hours between Shattered Veil and Reckoning, she tried to kill the crew by trapping them in a liminal space so she could try and get her goal of getting a real body. And even in Grief, she has lots of lines where she gets so much pleasure out of death. Now suddenly in this map, the dialogue is suggesting she is apologetic, and some characters seem to have forgotten the many lies she has told over the course of our experience over the past year, or in their in-game canon, the past 10 days, which makes it even more jarring that they would suddenly switch characters so much so. For example, Carver was the one really against her and sussing her out beforehand in the tomb, but now on this map, he's siding with her. It's really, really strange. It definitely seems like different people have done the writing dialogue dialogue and the intel and stuff, and there's causing some conflictions between the different writers. It just feels very inconsistent, which has been a common theme throughout this game, but it's ever more present in the finale, which is the last place you want it to be. Both of these shifts make the choice between Richtofen and the Samurai seem more even, instead of the obvious Richtofen pick it has been throughout the DLCs. While I understand the effort here, it ends up just making both characters feel out of place, like I say. Both endings reach the same moment with the central artifact. We power it to full strength, it fires a beam into the sky, and a galaxy-shaped sphere forms above it. It looks almost identical to the one we saw when the Agarthan device collapsed the multiverse and tagged a Toten, which is leading lots of people to think that maybe this is basically reopening the multiverse, because there's definitely an intentional mirror and parallel between the two animations. In both cases, it is a floating galaxy in the sky. If the artifact works the same way, it might be pulling the infinite potential timelines contained in that galaxy to grant these wishes. Similar to, I guess, the Agarthan device that again allowed the ability to grant wishes. The Samurai's body and Richtofen's family could both be drawn from there, as we do see an orb of S.A.M be pulled from that universe to create the physical body of Samantha Maxis, which the Samurai then puts her essence into to take over her body. And we also see an orb then come out of the universe to form Richtofen's family. They also needed DNA though, combined with the Sentinel artifact, so the Sentinel artifact was not able to do it just on its own. Let's go over the two endings though. We'll start with the first one of the Samurai. The Samurai ending does not require you to kill a specific person. Panos or Blanchard can die in either ending or neither. If you factor in those choices alongside the two main wishes and the option to refuse both, you already have more than just 2 possible outcomes. You don't even just have 4, you have 6 possible outcomes. You have the Samurai's ending, where Blanchard and Panos are alive. You have the Samurai's ending where just Blanchard is alive, or just Panos is alive. And then you also have the Richtofen ending where Panos and Blanchard are alive, but then you also have the Richtofen ending where Panos or Blanchard are alive. 6 possible outcomes. I made a mistake in my ending breakdown, saying that I thought either killing Blanchard or Panos was a requirement for the main quest and who you side with, but that's not at all the case. So there's actually a lot more outcomes than meets the eye, and I don't know if this means Panos or Blanchard could be saved for Black Ops 7, because I know people have been very frustrated that they built up especially Panos as having some sort of evil agenda, talking to a mysterious contact, and then he's just killed off like this for a wonder weapon upgrade and nothing is done with him. So they want him to be a part of Black Ops 7, you know, working with the Shadowsmiths or the Warden in some capacity, the Great Voice from Beyond as he describes them in the intel, which I'll make a separate video on in the future. But then people loved Blanchard as well because he's such a wholesome character, and then it's just so callous for us to randomly kill him, and Weaver even says in the map he would never kill someone again after the tragedy of what he did to Richtofen's family, but then why even give the player the choice as Weaver to be able to kill him? It just doesn't make any sense. It's very, very strange. The writing is very, very poor on this map. Anyways, as you are entering the boss fight, the choice instead comes down to which file of DNA you place in the machine. S.A.M's Samantha DNA, which is purple, or Richtofen's family DNA, which is blue, which makes sense to their two characters. When Richtofen was in control of the zombies, the eyes were blue as well. If you choose the Samurai's ending, the orb uses Samantha's DNA and the mass-shaping power of Prima Materia to create a human body. It transfers its consciousness into this body, which looks exactly the same as Samantha Maxis when she entered the Dark Ether at the ending of Cold War. Even her clothing is exactly the same. Her eyes glow purple at the end, showing that she keeps her Dark Ether powers and still has them, and the real Samantha stays dead. The AI has her memories, but is its own entity, because she's created some new memories of her own, and even then, she is different and distinct to the real Samantha Maxis. This is not the real Samantha Maxis. Like I said, she was apparently consumed by the Forsaken. She is a being of her own with shared memories and a lot of similarities to the real Samantha Maxis, but differences as well, with her own goals, motivations, and even some of her own memories. And probably with the way she was created as well, it changes some differences in personality. The cutscene ends with her standing in a new form as the orb goes dark. The music plays a rendition of Samantha's lullaby elegantly in the background and almost has a slight sinister tone to it, as it's clear she is potentially being set up as a threat. One of the most striking moments comes in a conversation between Weaver and Carver, which feels, like I said earlier, completely out of character for Carver.
You know, I think the computer lady is more than just a copy of Maxis. She's her own thing.
She's a machine. She may seem friendly, but what if she's a global threat once we let her become flesh and blood? Are you seriously considering helping S.A.M? I mean, imagine her on the loose, with Maxis' control over the Dark Ether.
She's already got some of that, Weaver. I don't see her using it against us.
This comes after an entire season of Carver being suspicious of the AI. Also, Carver's point that she's already got some dark ether powers, I don't see her using it against us, doesn't make any sense because she's used it against us the entire game. She teleported us into a liminal space on Shad Vale and sent the Z-Rex after us, as they even joke about. In the dialogue on the map, she also caused the zombie outbreaks which could have led to our deaths, and caused many deaths of many humans, so what on earth is Carver even on about? His sudden trust here makes no sense in context of who he is, especially when he was the one to suss out the Forsaken in Cold War. He has the smarts, and the character writing in Black Ops 6 is just so inconsistent, I really don't get it. Gray also makes it clear she does not want the AI wearing Samantha's face. Speaking to Maya, she says,
I want all of her. I fucking loved her. I don't know if I could handle something else wearing her face. I just don't.
Despite this, some characters are willing to take the risk. In a later conversation, Maya tells Carver she thinks Sam might make a good person, and Carver replies with the following.
Probably is a pretty thin read, Maya, but you really got me thinking now. Fuck it. If we get a say in the outcome, I'm ready to take a leap of faith on Sam.
This illustrates what seems to be an intentional split of the crew down the middle, with Carver and Maya being in favour of Sam. This leaves Gray and Weaver to be in favour of Richtofen, which I think they've intentionally written it this way to try and make it even down the middle, but again just feels out of line. It makes sense completely for Weaver, but I could see all of the others siding with either or, and it's a lot more inconsistent, honestly. I wouldn't think that Carver especially would side with the Sam AI. I thought that Gray and Maya would side with Sam. I understand Gray's point not wanting an AI to wear Samantha's face, but ultimately I think she would reckon with the fact that she is similar to Samantha Maxis. Yes, not the same, but many of those great traits she would still like, and she is a person of her own after all and does deserve a life. Even if she's done some evil things along the way to try and get that life, it makes sense because she was forced into this life. It was willed upon her. She had no free will in the matter. She was born into a very bad situation from the start of getting tortured by Richtofen. So I think that would have been a better way to do this, but I think this explains the odd shift Carver has in his opinion of Sam that seems to break character, because I think they wanted Gray and Weaver to side with Richtofen, and so if they didn't have Carver side with Sam, basically the entire crew, apart from Maya, would be in favour of Richtofen. The Modern Warfare Zombies ending shows a hand in a purple jumper grabbing Ava Jansen, which matches the AI's new look. I've said in videos that this could be proof that the ending could be canon, as this could be the Sam AI now with a body grabbing Ava Jansen in the future. The problem is that this would require the AI to disappear for 30 odd years instead of using her power in the real world, and she would somehow end up in the dark ether. As to why and how, I don't know. She is shown to be on the same level as potentially Zykov, so leaving her inactive for decades would be hard to explain. It would require another game to either be set simultaneously to or very close to Black Ops 7, but not in the dark ether, since Black Ops 7 is going to set up having different villains with the Shadowsmith / the Warden. It could potentially be that this is a clone of Samantha Maxis when she was in the dark ether, because we know that the dark ether is able to do that. It's able to clone entities over and over again. Now moving over to the second possible ending, Richtofen. The Richtofen ending is reached by instead listening to Richtofen and placing the vial of his family's genetic material inside the artifact tuning machine. After the artifact opens a tear in the sky, an orb emerges, and inside it are Richtofen's wife Mary and his son Samuel. They are alive again. This is the resolution to the central motivation Richtofen has carried for decades, and we have followed since Black Ops Cold War. He greets them and embraces them while the sky glows with the tear above. The scene is short and lacks emotional depth, with absolutely no dialogue, but still delivers a somewhat payoff for his arc, enough to close it here. He gets his happy ending at last, and can smile again, but we don't know where he goes from next. Now that he has his family, is he just going to retire from anything zombies related and just live a normal life? Who knows? This would allow the story to begin moving forward, separate to what the Dark Ether story so far has been based around, and now we're having the original characters returning. Of course, his family's deaths were the motivations for the entire Cold War story and setting up Requiem, and this is the end of this chapter that started in Black Ops Cold War, allowing them to move on to new things with Black Ops 7. Weaver's reasoning for helping him comes through clearly in this conversation with Maya.
Bottom line, if I can resurrect an innocent woman and child, I'm doing it.
It's as close to a happy ending as you're likely to get. No offense, I'm Team Sam.
For Weaver, this is not about Richtofen himself. It is about bringing back people who never deserved what happened to them, and ridding himself of the blood of his own hands. Gray also tells Weaver she's leaning towards Richtofen, though not for him, making it clear that some support comes from principle rather than loyalty.
Honestly, I'm leaning towards helping Richtofen. Correction, helping his poor wife and child, and then finding her a good divorce lawyer.
Gray also argues with Carver in favor of saving Richtofen's family in order to cleanse Maxis' hands of their deaths, which is funny considering we now know she's not even particularly guilty of it, since it was all down to Kruger giving faulty intel intentionally. I'll play that quote now.
My heart's telling me the right thing is to fix Maxis' mistake, even if it means helping Richtofen.
After either ending plays, the cutscenes merge again, as the ending is exactly the same. The original Zombies crew returns, the Terminus crew is pulled into the Dark Ether, and Richtofen greets them with "Welcome to the party." The floating galaxy and falling essence orbs remain, hinting at a possible return of the multiverse. The original Zombies crew appears, older than their premise selves, but younger than Ultimus. The Terminus crew is pulled into the Dark Ether, seemingly inside the Sentinel artifact itself, and appear in the Janus Tower's lobby, the spawn room, probably in some kind of liminal space of some sort of merger between Transit and Liberty Falls, as the intel is suggesting. Richtofen is the only one of the originals who speaks, like I said, saying "welcome to the party," which shows he knew they would be arriving. Black Ops 7 Zombies is now set up to take place entirely within the Dark Ether. The creation of a universe in the sky and the release of the Essence Orbs in both endings are potential visual hints towards the restoration of the multiverse. The effect they use is almost one-to-one a 3D recreation of the galaxy that appears above the Agarthan device. Now, the biggest evidence for the Richtofen ending being canon is that we know that he is the reason why Ava Jansen gets born, because he stole the DNA, the literal egg of Samantha Maxis and the sperm of Ravenov, I guess. I don't even know why this is Zombies lore, and made Ava Jansen, who then has similar Dark Ether powers to Samantha. Maybe to contain the threat of the Shadowsmiths, I really do not know. We don't know how she's going to tie in, but regardless, that happens in 1996, probably after the Requiem heads escape the Dark Ether at the ending of Black Ops 7, and then somehow end up sacrificing their essence in Urzikstan due to them being too exposed to the Dark Ether, them literally being living time bombs. Essentially, them being alive could cause a Dark Ether breach itself, and their deaths were imminent anyways, so they sacrificed their lives. But surely Richtofen's ending has to be canon to the Modern Warfare Zombies ending, but then the Samurai ending could also be canon if she is the one to grab Ava Jansen. So it's really odd. So could it be possible that somehow there's a merger of timelines, and they are both canon? Could the multiverse be returning?
Welcome to the party.
The official state of the storyline since Tag the Totem is that the multiverse no longer exists. The prior multiverse was collapsed into the Dark Ether and left a single linear timeline that we've been playing in since Black Ops Cold War. But in leaks for Black Ops 7, the villain, known as the Warden, apparently wants to restore the multiverse. If he succeeds even partially, it could create branching timelines again without fully bringing back the entire Ether multiverse. That opens the door for both Reckoning endings to be canon in their own separate timelines. In one, Richtofen wins and restores his family, leading directly into the Modern Warfare Zombie story we know. In the other, the Samurai wins and takes control of a physical form, changing the world in a way we have not yet seen. These timelines could merge later or remain separate, which could explain how S.A.M seems to be the one to grab Ava in Modern Warfare Zombies. The flowing galaxy above the Sentinel artifact in Reckoning feels important here. It looks just like the one created by the Agarthan device in Tag the Totem's ending, both a swirling, contained universe in the sky. If that galaxy holds infinite potential timelines, then the artifact might already be pulling people and events from alternative realities. That would make it entirely possible that we are seeing the birth of parallel timelines before Black Ops 7 even starts. I think Richtofen's ending still fits best with the established future. His family arc has been central since Cold War, where we've only just been introduced to the Samurai in this game. Modern Warfare Zombies confirms Samantha was never saved. Richtofen also needs to be alive, as he said later, to create Ava Jansen. The Samurai ending would mean his death would contradict these points. The purple jumper in Modern Warfare Zombies can be explained as belonging to whatever is left of the real Samantha, some sort of mutant or clone of her after she's died in the Dark Ether and it's stolen her body essentially, rather than the AI, but we will have to wait and see. Like I said earlier as well, there is also the meta factor that Samantha's voice actor Julie Nathanson left the role and did not return after the strikes, which may explain why Treyarch removed her from the story. For now, the most logical conclusion is that Richtofen's ending is canon. It fits the timeline, pays off his arc, and lines up with what we know comes next. At the same time, the events of Reckoning and the Warden's goals in the next game leave the possibility open for a multiverse comeback. If that happens, both endings could matter, each as they start of its own universe and could even merge together, explaining why the S.A.M could potentially grab Ava, but at the same time, Ava's birth itself needs Richtofen to be alive. Until we learn more, Richtofen probably seemingly wins and the story moves into the heart of the Dark Ether for Black Ops 7. But what do you think? Is Richtofen's ending canon? Is the Samurai somehow canon and she is just defeated and plunged into the Dark Ether at some point somehow? Or are we in a new multiverse already and there's some kind of merger of timelines? timelines, maybe even time travel involved, especially with the Samurai able to open up portals. I guess she could portal into another timeline and then grab Ava. Anyways, let me know all of your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not for some great Call of Duty news information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye. To conclude this video, I want to shout out the fact that I finally decided to make a Patreon and Cameo account, both of which will be linked below if you want to help support the channel. On Patreon, you can sign up for the lowest tier of just $1.50 a month to get exclusive access for my Discord, where we can discuss zombies lore, trivia, or whatever you desire. A place where you lot, my community, can better connect. Your names will also appear at the end of videos thanking you. For $5.50 a month, you get all of that, and I will be doing exclusive monthly Q&As. And for $16.50 a month, you again get all of that, and I will be doing exclusive lore videos, such as unpacking niche parts of the Treyarch documents I've been breaking down on my channel that don't as much suit a main channel video. For the highest tier, only for those with the ability to and who really want to help out the channel, you get special bonuses I've yet to determine and verbal shoutouts at the end of every video. Over on Cameo, I can do funny videos reading lines from zombies, memes like how do we tell him, birthday wishes for friends or family, or whatever else you desire, practically anything. Of course, none of this is necessary, just watching and enjoying the videos helps me immensely and I greatly appreciate it. However, I think it's about time I start setting up additional revenue streams because Zombies' popularity is tumultuous and always goes through ups and downs. As I'm sure you've lately seen on the channel, viewership is down a lot. We go through big highs when new games release, but then during these drought periods, I need more income stability so I don't have to worry as much about it and I can focus more on improving the quality of the content. My highest quality videos are not always the ones that best please YouTube algorithms, so instead, this way I can produce my best work knowing I don't have to think as much about how well the content's going to perform. So if you'd like to support me on Patreon for exclusive content or would like a simple Cameo message, you can do so to further support me via the links below, but only if you can afford it and you actually want to help me. Don't feel like you are forced to, don't worry, I'll survive. It would just help relieve some of the pressure during inconsistent periods on the channel, so I don't have to solely rely on AdSense revenue and still maintain the sheer quantity and quality of content that I put out. Obviously I pump out literally a boatload of content and some of these are absolutely crazy projects over hour-long videos, so it's a lot on my plate, especially when these videos don't perform particularly well. And I've not been doing many sponsorships lately to help supplement revenue either, so it would greatly help. Thank you for any generous person once again who does kindly support the channel. It means the absolute world and will really help keep this boat afloat.